If you want your guitar to sound better when you're recording it, these are some things you should do. Number one, you have to make sure at all costs you don't clip anywhere. It's very hard to remove a clipped signal from anything. So listen back after you get your sound and make sure before you go through and play the best solo of your whole life that you didn't have everything set too loud. I can't tell you how many horror stories I could tell you about, like, the best performance ever that was clipped. It's happened. Don't make it a thing. Record in 32-bit float if you can help it. This will make sure that you don't clip the signal. So on the recording, on the tracking end, 32-bit float is the way to do it. If you're mixing and mastering, it doesn't matter if you use 24-bit or 16-bit. Like, you should, in my opinion, for mixing and mastering, use 24-bit 48K, because that's what it has to be the majority of the time when you're done. So because you're the last stop on the train, you should be working at that, because if it's already clipped by the time you get it, doesn't matter if you work in 32-bit float or, infinite float. It wouldn't matter because it's already been clipped. So you can't unclip it by you working in 32-bit float. It's not how it works. So because of that, you might as well, on the mixing mastering end, work where it has to be. It has to be usually 24-bit wave, 48 kilohertz. All right, 44.1 sometimes, and 16-bit wave for CD baby. So certain things. So now, let's keep in mind for guitar what I never do. I'll never record just one mic on the guitar placed haphazardly. I'll always make sure I'm purposely intentional with the placement. Now, this could mean in a verse, I want it to be small. So there's another thing I never do is, like, I won't double the guitar part all the time just for the sake of it. There's no reason to do that. I spent a lot of time recording way too many guitars for every song I did when I was, like, making music early on, thinking that was going to sound great. I put 4 mics up on every guitar track I recorded, and it sounded like ass. So I don't recommend doing it. I personally think the better way to play it is get a good sound out of 2 mics, because they can be really complementary, and that's the most you should use. You could mic the front of the cab and the back of the cab. In that case, invert the phase on the mic on the back. Make sure, if you're miking them like this. So what else? Things I never do. I never record with too much gain, because that just sounds terrible. Even if you're doing metal and stuff, it sounds like you recorded on a toy, like, teaser. Like, maybe that's what you're going for, but it'll sound super lo-fi and just trashy. The more distorted it is. It sounds so Line 6 Spider. It's just, avoid that at all costs. What else? Things I never do. I'll never not check the phase of the 2 mics. The way I'm doing that is by getting, like, even if you don't want to keep going into the room, because I told you the best way to do it is literally put headphones on near the speaker and move it around. And I'll do a video showing you that. But if you don't want to do that, just record yourself playing. Okay, listen to it, then go in there and then move one of the mics a little bit and remember where you moved it, and then listen to it, good or bad. Like, I recorded these guitars here. This is 2 mics. I record on a stereo track so I can separate it later, but you could also just record this on one mono track and mix the 2 mics down to one mono track. It's just, I like to do it this way because I could save it later differently, but I can still treat it as one source in the moment, which is the idea. I don't want 2 tracks, I want 1 track. So it's a stereo track. Always do your fades in the middle of a cut. That's a good lesson just to throw in the middle of nothing, okay? Because it's important. Like, do it in a space. So you zoom in to find a space, and that's where you put your fade, your crossfade, all right? This is the stereo track of guitar for the left side. This is a stereo track of guitar for the right side. These are made up of a ribbon mic and that E906 Sennheiser. All right, and I split this up into 2 mono tracks right now so you can see what it looks like. But I always work with it as one stereo track so I could do my processing together. When I'm adding EQ or whatever I'm doing it once to the 2 mics as a whole. That'll maintain the phase relationship and everything that I had going in, and it'll allow me to still manipulate it if I need to. So that's a beautiful thing about get it to sound great where you don't need to do much. Potentially that's the best route, but always treat it as one source, even if you have 2 mics, okay? Or 3. Always treat them as one. If you're recording it and intending it to be one, treat it as one. Don't treat the mic separate after the fact. It's a big one I never do. I never treat the mic separate after the fact. Get comfortable with what they sound like to be out of phase, because once you realize what that is, it'll come clear to you, oh, this is what it means, and then you become obsessed with it. The idea of making sure stuff's in phase. So don't get carried away here, but the idea is it sounds terrible and then it sounds great. It gets tiny and then you hear the whole guitar, and that's the point. All I'm doing is flipping the phase button. That's the point. That's how drastic of an effect this could have on making your stuff sound bad or good. You got to realize this is everything. The point is, you get no level the other way when it's wrong. You get all the level when it's right. All right? I hope this makes some sense, because if it does, your product is going to be hugely improved and you'll thank me. And if you like this video and if this works out for you, hope you hit the like button. Please do me a favor, all right? Hit the subscribe button. Do me a favor over there. Also, come back for more. Make sure notifications are on. We got mixing and mastering lessons if you're looking for that. And if you need your song to just sound better and you want to hear what we can do, we have a special offer on our website right now. So if you need mixing, let us know. You need mastering or both, hit us up. My name's Evan Jaffe. This is Custom Cut Studios. And keep in mind, you guys got this. Piece of cake. You're on the way. Take it easy.